A season of magic, a season to remember, a season with few expectations turned into an emotional ride that captivated the entire Purdue family and the nation. In 1997, Purdue returned to the college football national stage. The journey back was the result of a relentless pursuit of victory by a unique group of players and coaches. The journey's first step, however, was the hiring of Joe Tiller as Purdue's 33rd head football coach on November 22, 1996. Tiller, a former Purdue assistant, brought his entire coaching staff from Wyoming, plus a focus on the present.
Certainly we adapted I don't know if you want to call it the cliche or theme, if you will, of the next play. In other words, we're only going to be concerned about the next play. We're never going to worry about the last play. And the same thing was applicable in terms of games. We'll only worry about the next game. We will not be concerned about the last game. So all of our energy was channeled, if you will, funneled into thinking about what was coming up next for us to be successful, forgetting the past.
Trust quickly developed between the players and the new coaching staff in the spring.
Because I knew that if our coaches had the opportunity to spend time with our players, that our players would begin to think like our coaches think. And we have a very positive coaching staff and a very good coaching staff and an aggressive coaching staff, and that if we could get our players to spend time around our coaches, we could affect their thinking in a very positive way.
The positive relationship unleashed a burning desire to succeed among the players, a dedicated work ethic and devotion to the team concept. Tiller demanded focus and effort. The players responded.
The players I think they wanted some direction with regards to, hey, what kind of ideas do you have that will help us? We're frustrated. We want to be successful. Give us some new ideas. Give us some fresh ideas. Give us a fresh approach. I'm not sure they really understood at the time what they were bargaining for, however, and they were very receptive.
Heading into the season, the tough mental approach and team enthusiasm was encouraging. But there was uncertainty. The season began September 6th at the University of Toledo. The outcome justified the uncertainty and provided no clues about the rest of the season. Purdue's new offense opened the season with a 76-yard touchdown drive. Ed Watson carried the ball the final 45 yards to the end zone. But Toledo continually took advantage of the Boilermakers' inexperienced defense. The result was 21 first-quarter points that sent Purdue reeling. Instead of panic, teaching took over. As the game progressed, the Boilermaker defense rightened itself. It was a positive sign of the type of coaching leadership Purdue now has on its sideline. On offense, the eventual All-Big Ten passing combination of Billy Dicken and Brian Alford hooked up for the first of their many long touchdowns in 1997. But it was still not enough. Purdue was stunned by the 36-22 final margin. Yet out of the upset, the seeds of victory were planted through leadership and resilience.
I had a lot of confidence in our ability to make some positive things happen over the course of the season. So we were not going to react if we had great success at Toledo, with, an overabundance of joy, if you will. And we were not going to have any setback there really, force us to lose our focus or cause us to lose our focus on really taking a step each week out and getting better at what we were doing.
Senior Greg Smith says the players responded positively.
The coaches really handled it well. Nobody got mad, didn't yell. We went over our mistakes on the film. We watched the film once. That was it, and then we immediately started to prepare for Notre Dame.
That preparation was definitely needed. A national television audience, a sold-out stadium. An undefeated 12th-ranked Notre Dame greeted Tiller in his first game at Ross-Ade Stadium as Purdue's head coach. It was to be the most auspicious home debut for a new head coach in Purdue football history. The future began on the 1-yard line. The Boilermakers moved confidently and with precision down the field, alternating running and passing plays. Dicken, Alford. Freshman Vinnie Sutherland, Ed Watson, and Purdue's offensive line had Purdue on the march. Notre Dame must have sensed that this was the new Purdue when 99 yards later, Ed Watson bowled over the goal line to give the Boilermakers a 7-0 lead.
Well, what I was saying to myself is, boy, these guys don't know what's coming next. We lined up, and we had a shovel pass call, and I had a guy on the outside of me, and then I looked inside, and there's nobody there. The next guy's a linebacker, and I'm like, wow, these guys really have no clue what's going to come after them. I mean, and they didn't. They were on their heels the whole game.
Watson's second touchdown run of the game gave Purdue a 14-10 halftime lead. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, Purdue's defense continued to frustrate the Fighting Irish. They give it to him again. He's going to be spotted by Wakori. Cuckoo Wakori wrapped him up in the back to throw. Looks, steps up in the pocket, fires downfield, and it's incomplete. A big hit.
I think what happens with our defense, we really feed off the crowd, and when we're really emotional and we've got the crowd in it, that's when we play our best defense. I mean, the place was rocking, and we just fed off that and just aggressiveness all out.
Defensive aggressiveness and all-out hustle as its reward. Paulus play action fake to the left, looking downfield, he's going to run, and they catch him from behind. He fumbles, picked up by Beasley. Beasley's going to score. He's to the 20, the 15. He goes in. 42 yards. Coleman forced the fumble. Adrian Beasley picked it up, and the Boilermakers score on a defensive play.
The fans at Ross-Ade Stadium are going crazy. The Boilermakers has just taken a 10-point lead with the extra point to come, and the defense looking outstanding in the second half of this football game.
At that moment in time, that was the real turning point of our whole entire season. We gained a lot of confidence by making that play and being successful in the Notre Dame game.
As the fourth quarter wound down, Purdue aggressively elected not to set on the lead. The soon-to-be famous bubble screen to Sutherland resulted in a 38-yard gain to the Irish 2. They threw a hitch when everybody thought they were going to run out the clock. Long count by Dickon. Hands off to Matthews. He battles down, stretched out. Touchdown, Kendall Matthews. Icing on the Boilermaker victory cake. As the game ended, 11 years of frustration erupted into a frenzied celebration. Fans mobbed the field, engulfing the players who fought through the crowd to sing the fight song with the band. Yet standing in the middle of all the chaos, Joe Tiller showed the same demeanor as he had in the loss to Toledo. Under control, no matter what the circumstance.
I hope we have a whole lot more of these. It's a great win for Purdue. First of many we hope.
Oh, it seemed like no one wanted that game to really end. You know, they wanted it to go on and on and on and on. And our players did, and, you know, our fans did. Coaches didn't, you know. But, you know, it was one of those type situations after the ball game that was really a euphoric feeling. And, you know, it was kind of like, okay, we're going to, you know, let's do this again. Hey, let's meet here and have a party again next Saturday.
The following Saturday, Purdue fans assembled at Ross-Ade Stadium for what many thought would be a party. But Ball State proved that football parties can't be taken for granted. Early in the second quarter, the Cardinals led 7-3 and smelled another upset for the Mid-America Conference. But the new Purdue kept its poise and responded with a big play on special teams that led to a touchdown. And on offense, the scrambling ability of Dickon led to a 15-yard touchdown pass to Sutherland, an emerging force for the Boilermakers. The defense stiffened, and Purdue regained the lead before halftime. In the second half, Dickon and Alford hooked up for a touchdown pass for the third straight game, and the Boilermakers clinched a sluggish 28-14 victory.
I'm going to probably surprise some people here in the sense that we really feel like perhaps, if you will, the turning point of the season, if you will, or what have you, was really the Northwestern game, because we had success against Notre Dame, but we had slipped back a little bit against Ball State. Our performance was not as good as it was the week before. And now we were going to play Northwestern, a Big Ten team, and the co-champions from the year before.
The Purdue ground attack, led by 152 yards from Matthews, successfully played ball control against the Wildcats. Donald Winston's first touchdown in a Purdue uniform gave the Boilers a 7-3 lead. Meanwhile, Purdue's special teams, led by the punting tandem of Danny Rogers and Brandon Kaiser, kept Northwestern pinned deep in its own territory. But the real story of the game was the Purdue defense. The ball-hawking Boilers, led by linebacker Mike Rose's 3 interceptions, including this one returned 24 yards for a touchdown, were dominant. The bend but don't break Boilers pursued and encircled every Wildcat ball carrier. The defending Big Ten champions were taken completely out of their offense. Linebacker Willie Fells, as he would become the whole season long, was a guided missile closing on the football. And when the Wildcats went to the air, there was always a hungry Boilermaker lurking nearby. Another Dickin to Alfred touchdown pass gave Purdue a final 21-9 margin of victory. The defense continued to stuff Northwestern at every turn. Rose's 3rd interception of the day exemplified the impressive display of total team defense. The Boilers next squared off with Minnesota at the Metrodome. The two teams had a history of wild battles in Minneapolis. The game that unfolded eclipsed even those memorable affairs. Football on grass became tennis on grass throughout the evening. It was non-stop coast-to-coast action. An entertainment delight for football fans, a nightmare for the coaches. Quarterback Billy Dickin and All-American wide receiver Brian Alfred particularly feasted on the Minnesota man-to-man defense.
I like the man-to-man, the pressure defense, but I have to be on that game. If I'm a little bit off, it could really go against us. But I like the man-to-man because our receivers are good enough where they can get open, and once I get them the ball, that they can take it a long way.
And when I saw that they were going to be playing that across the board with no safety in the middle, I started kind of licking my lips and, knew that you had the potential for some big plays to happen.
The remarkable offensive explosion at Minnesota demonstrated Purdue's ability to strike quickly and often. Innovative, exciting, and productive. The offense could devastate opponents, and oh, was it fun to watch. In the staid, conservative world of Big Ten football, Purdue was suddenly the straw that stirred the drink. The results? Astounding. The offense averaged 33 points and 460 yards in total offense. The offensive line only allowed 19 sacks and nearly 400 passing attempts and opened gaping holes in the line for the running game. Running backs Kendall Matthews and Edwin Watson took full advantage of the holes and combined for 1,458 yards and 13 touchdowns. All-American wide receiver Brian Alfred became Purdue's all-time leading receiver as he gained 1,167 yards and caught 9 touchdown passes. The ringleader was quarterback Billy Dickin. The senior threw for 2,811 yards and 19 scores, while rushing for 5 more touchdowns. The Boilers showed that there was a new way to win in the Big Ten. As Tiller and his coaching staff preached, this was starting to be a lot of fun, and the excitement was contagious. A bright, sunny homecoming party awaited the Boilermakers on their return home from Minnesota. Wisconsin, riding the wave of a gaudy 6-game winning streak on the back of monstrous tailback Ron Dane, was the opponent. To counter Dane, the Boilermakers' best defense turned out to be a great offense. A touchdown pass to Tillman began the homecoming festivities. Watson's 75-yard touchdown run continued the assault.
The papa said, oh, if I get that boy, I'm gonna stick him in the house of detention. Well, I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on my way.
Purdue's offense kept Dane off the field for most of the day. And when called upon, the defense kept the high-flying Wisconsin offense in check. For the Badgers, it went from bad to worse. For Purdue fans, well, they were beginning to expect victory. A good time was had by all. Well, maybe except for Bucky Badger.
Whoa, in a couple of days they're gonna take me away, but the press let the story leak. Now when the radical priests come to get me released, we's all on the cover of Newsweek, and I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going, I'm on my way. I'm taking my time, but I don't know where. Goodbye to Rosie, the queen of Corona. See me and Julio down by the schoolyard. See me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
The domination was complete. Mark Fisher feels it was Purdue's best performance of the year.
You know, defenses, had to respect our run as well as the pass. And, I mean, that's just something that we haven't had here before. We haven't had the run and the pass. This year we had it.
By now, everyone knew the Purdue defense definitely had it.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
They want to be aggressive. That's why they play football, and we let them be aggressive, and they liked it.
The bend but don't break Boilers always found a way to come up big. Attacking, relentless, opportunistic. They would never quit, never surrender. Nobody could keep these guys down.
I get knocked down.
Despite their lack of size and inexperience, the defense played like guided missiles. The Boilermakers forced 31 turnovers and returned 6 turnovers for touchdowns. They swarmed, pursued, and gang tackled, and always went looking for more.
Whether I make a great play or I make a poor play, I play that play like it's going to be my last play, and I forget about it and get ready for the next play. Because the next play is the most important play after that play is over with.
The Boilermakers headed back on the road to Illinois with a 5-game winning streak and a 3-0 record in the Big Ten.
On the road again.
Winning had solidified the team chemistry. Even the tedious road trips seemed to take on a new luster. The trip to Illinois was picture perfect. From takeoff to the return home, the Boilermakers dominated the Illini.
Going places that I've never been.
The defense was dominant once again, and the offense equally effective again. The Illini never knew what hit them. Dickens' touchdown passes to his favorite receiver, Brian Alford, was beginning to look like instant replay. The Boilermakers led 14-0, and the rout was on. Everyone seemed to get into the act.
Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends.
The resounding 48-3 thumping of Illinois gave Purdue its first 6-game winning streak since 1980 and guaranteed the first winning year since 1984. Remarkable milestones in a season filled with accomplishment. The road show continued as Purdue, 4-0 in the Big Ten, faced Iowa on a typically miserable day in Iowa City. Purdue got off to a tremendous start. An amazing catch in traffic by Alford turned into a touchdown 77 yards later, and Purdue led 10-0. The defense picked up where it left off against Illinois, but a 31-yard Iowa touchdown pass cut the lead to 10-7. A 30-yard catch by Alford set up a Dickin quarterback sneak touchdown run. The lead was 17-7. The half began to wind down. A blocked field goal attempt on the last play of the half. An omen for the future. It couldn't stop the avalanche of the second half. After halftime, nothing seemed to work offensively. The defense, despite a gallant effort, eventually wore down as the Hawkeyes snapped Purdue's winning streak 35-17. Purdue returned to Ross-Ade Stadium to face another physical Big Ten opponent, the Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Purdue's offense was sputtering. Another Spartan touchdown made it 14-0. Things looked bleak. After years of frustration and on the threshold of great things, quitting was not an option. The Boilermakers continued to fight, despite desperate odds. A flanker pass from Chris Daniels to Alford fooled the Spartans for once. The defense kept hope alive. Despite Ed Watson's determined running, the offense was still struggling. In the fourth quarter, Shane Ryan's field goal cut the lead to 14-10. Then, on the ensuing series, the Spartans struck a crushing blow. A long touchdown pass made the score 21-10, and the celebration began in East Lansing. On Purdue's next possession, with time slipping away, things went from bad to worse for the Boilers. The clock headed towards 0. After the interception, Purdue's defense continued to fight, pushing the Spartans back. The never-surrender attitude of Leo Perez and the Purdue defense set the tone.
You know, there was still time on the clock, and you know, there was time to make something happen, and we did. You know, the game wasn't over yet for us.
The seemingly insignificant defensive stand set in motion a chain of events that in 2 minutes of flawless execution made the college football world stop and take notice. There's the snap, the placement, and the kick is blocked. It's a free ball picked up by the Boilermakers. And at the 50, the 45, the 40, it's Colvin. He gets a block. He can score. He comes to the near side. Colvin's going to score. A touchdown for the Boilermakers.
And can you believe that? Not only was it blocked and Colvin, an outstanding run, but what excellent blocking downfield.
I remember just looking and seeing Leo block the kick, and I was hoping it would bounce out towards me, and I just ran and picked it up and tried to run it in. Thanks to God, I made it in the end zone. And Beasley and Mike Hawthorne.
Arntz gets a big bounce, and it's going to be grabbed by John Reeves. John Reeves recovered. It took a big bounce over the top of 4 Spartans, and the Boilermakers have it. Slot to the left, shotgun spread. There's the snap to Dickin. He gets time, throws, and Alford makes the catch. There's the snap. He gets some blocking, throws to Watson, one-handed catch. There's the snap to Dickens. Here comes the pass rush. Over the middle, he's got Winston at the 20. And he's down to the 18-yard line, first down. He looks, he fires, and it's caught by Cox. He's to the 5. He goes down to the 3-yard line. First and goal to go. Each team with one timeout left. High snap, inside handoff to Watson. He battles, he gets down, he scored. Watson scored. The go-ahead touchdown. 40 seconds to go. Watson wouldn't be denied as he carried the Spartan across the goal line. And a handoff goes to Renaud, and he's going to be yanked down at the 26-yard line. They're lined up. There's the snap. There's the placement. There's the kick. It's no good. It's no good. He hooked it wide left. He almost whiffed the ball, and Lee Brush is racing down the field, falling down and rolling over. 3 seconds to go, and Dickens takes a knee, and it's over. The Boilermakers have held on to beat Michigan State 22-21, and Purdue improves to 5-1 in the Big Ten, 7-2 on the year. Look at the student body.
Congratulations to Coach Tilt. And that Boilermaker squad never gave up, even when it looked like they didn't have a prayer, and they're rewarded with a huge victory against Michigan State.
Final score, Purdue 22, Michigan State 21.
Nobody believed what we did. Expect to win.
You know, how many years have we practiced these things and never, you know, sequentially have they been set up in that type of order in the past?
But then there was little time for the 7-2 Boilers to celebrate. Former top-ranked Penn State, now number 6, came to town. On a bitterly cold afternoon, Willie Fells and the Boilermaker defense squared off against the Nittany Lions' high-powered offense. Penn State jumped out on top early. Just before halftime, Purdue tried to cut into the lead again. Dickens' long pass and Winston Circus' catch set up a Shane Ryan field goal. As the second half progressed, the Lions opened the lead to 28-9. The Purdue offense responded with a long touchdown drive. Dickens' touchdown pass to Gabe Cox and the ensuing two-point conversion to Jones cut the lead to 28-17. Another miracle comeback appeared in the offing as Purdue headed towards the goal line with 8 minutes left in the game. But the comeback hopes were dashed with one play. That led to another Penn State touchdown. On the next series, another Penn State interception was returned for a score. However, there was no time to dwell on the past. Ahead lay one final piece of unfinished business, the Indiana Hoosiers.
If you're a true Boilermaker, it's not hard to get up for the Indiana game, regardless of who they are, what's the level of competition or whatever. Purdue versus Indiana, everyone's ready to play.
And I didn't think anybody was upsetting that whole week. I mean, we knew what we needed to do. We knew it was the bucket game. We knew we didn't have the bucket, and we knew we wanted it. So that's all anybody needed to know.
At the end of the day, both the offense and the defense had kept the scoreboard moving. Even walk-on Tara Graham got into the act with a late touchdown run. The victory over the bitter interstate rival by a lopsided 56-7 margin set off yet one more celebration. Purdue players, coaches, and fans reveled in the victory and a memorable season. An 8-3 record and a second-place finish in the Big Ten. The final celebration was a fitting tribute to a special group of seniors. Success had eluded them for so long, yet they had persevered and were the leaders of the new Purdue. It was a football season they'll be able to savor for a lifetime. For the first time since 1984, Purdue's senior class would end their careers with a postseason bowl appearance. The Boilermakers accepted a bid to the Builders Square Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, Texas, where they faced off against Big 12 Conference power Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State took the early lead on a field goal. Dickin was intercepted on the next series. But once again, after an early strategic adjustment, the defense came up big for Purdue.
He's at their 27-yard line.
The offense did not squander Beasley's belated Christmas gift.
Dickin beats the blitz, hits Ed Watson. Oklahoma State wants to pressure. Purdue wants to pass. Means the quarterback, who's 6'1", 207, is going to get some licks. Dickin, Alford, touchdown!
Team co-MVPs Dickin and Alford hooked up for a touchdown pass for the 10th and final time in their senior season.
Clock-eating drive for Oklahoma State.
In the second quarter, OSU went on a long drive. Inside the 10-yard line, the Boilermaker defense stiffened. Cowboys kicked a field goal to cut the Purdue lead to 1, 7-6. Mike Hawthorne caused a fumble, and Lee Brush picked it up and headed into the end zone.
Purdue, it's Lee Brush down the sidelines.
Although the touchdown was nullified by a penalty, the Boilermaker offense was back in business.
Shane Ryan's field goal is good.
Shane Ryan kicked his 8th field goal of the year, a 42-yarder, and Purdue led 10-6 at the half. As the second half got underway, Purdue, as it had done all season, made halftime adjustments that dramatically changed the direction of the game. On defense, Roosevelt Colvin and company turned dominant.
For this half, and he cuts it back to the left with no place to go. Roosevelt Colvin, the junior out of Indianapolis, who had 10 sacks this year, was there for the stop. In there as games wear on. Chasing down Lindsey this time. Got him! Fumble the football! Recovered by OSU's right guard, Adam Davis. Well, he's 245, but he's got speed.
Adrian Beasley continued to play Santa Claus.
Pressure from Rose was picked up, intercepted again by Beasley. Adrian Beasley's second interception. Adrian Beasley down the sidelines to the 6-yard line. Purdue, an excellent red zone offense team. Edwin Watson to the 2.
With Dickens' quarterback sneak, the Boilers led 16-6.
Dickens keeping, second effort, touchdown! Oklahoma State down 10.
Oklahoma State answered with a touchdown, relying on its potent option offense and timely passing.
Into the end zone, touchdown!
But then Purdue's offense went back to work. A bowl record 60-yard catch and run by Ed Watson on our old friend, the bubble screen, set up Purdue's next touchdown. A 16-yard end around by freshman Vinny Sutherland.
Field on OSU into the red zone. Vinny Sutherland has great speed. Vinny Sutherland, touchdown!
The quarter that would not end got even worse for the Cowboys. Purdue got the ball back. Ed Watson would own the shortest record in the history of collegiate bowl games as Daniels split the defense. Watson's record had been erased from the books. The scoreboard read 30-13, and Purdue was on its way to its 5th victory in 6 bowl trips.
69 yards. He caught 2 all year. He may not catch a bigger one in his future years at Purdue. Brian, the sophomore from the Houston area, the Woodlands in Texas.
With just under 10 minutes left in the game, Shane Ryan kicked his 9th field goal of the season, and the score was 33-13.
He's kicked a couple. Joe Tiller's offense, putting up points like they did in the regular season. They're just backing up like nobody's business here.
There he is again.
The defense continued to stymie the Cowboys. Henry Bell picked off his 3rd pass of the year to end any hopes of a late comeback. The Cowboys did add a touchdown with less than a minute to go in the game to make the final score more respectable, 33-20. The gold and black celebration was on in San Antonio as a memorable week in Texas for thousands of Boilermaker fans came to a satisfying conclusion as Purdue ended the season with a 9-3 record.
As the Purdue Boilermakers wait 13 years to get to a bowl game and come away with a victory.
All the Purdue fans, everybody that's watching, God is good. He's blessed us. A wonderful day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's wonderful. And like this, the champions, baby, champions. Purdue all the way. This is just the beginning. Hey, I want to say all the fans really appreciate the support all season. Told you I was going to come down here and bring home another victory for the Boilermakers. Go Purdue. 5 years. It's all worth it, though. It's all worth it. This is a great ending. This is a great ending. I'm speechless, really.